Welcome to the first video in a new series of guided meditations. It's a new project I'm going to try and see if I can help some people. As always, often the reason I do things like this is because I'm looking for a certain kind of meditation, or I'm looking for a certain kind of piece of music or a certain philosophy, and every time I can't find exactly what I'm looking for, I go and ask myself the question, what does it look like and how hard can it be? Then I lean into that. So this is the first one of those. I'm not going to spend too much time on the theory of meditation straight up front. I think maybe I'll do a separate video on that, but suffice to say that I at least want to tackle a few myths here and dispel them, and what we're trying to do versus what we're not trying to do. So what we're not trying to do is stop our minds from thinking or thinking of nothing. I see a lot of crap on Instagram about how you reach high levels of transcendence and all sorts of nonsense. Spiritual junk food. The objective of meditation is to not stop what is happening, not to stop the sensations or the emotions or the thoughts that come up. It is to begin to notice that they come up without our input or direction, and there is an opportunity for us to step back, or our awareness to step back, especially step back from the identification process with the authorship of those thoughts and those feelings and those emotions, so that we can start perceiving them more like clouds that move through an open sky and leave the sky unchanged. These are thoughts and feelings that move through our consciousness and potentially leave our awareness unchanged. What we then get to with that insight is less attachment in a moment and in our lives to all of the drama which co-opts our attention so often. And what we get with the bandwidth that we claw back is ability to set intentions and focus on what we do want to achieve in our lives, and choose how we want to respond to or engage with people in our lives, the special relationships that mean something to us, and including the relationship we have with ourselves. So let's begin. First of all, there's no special way to sit right now. There are certain benefits to sitting certain ways, but let's start with the premise that if there's anything special about the nature of our mind, it cannot be wholly tied to the way we're sitting in our bodies, whether we're sitting cross-legged in perfect asana with a straight spine. We can experiment with that and get to that later. In addition to that, no one is going to come around at the end of our lives or at the end of a sitting and give us a gold star or a prize for being the one that sat the straightest or held the pose the most perfect. This is not for everybody else. This is something very personally just for us, just for you. In this moment, you are trying to if there's any progress or proof to be made, it's simply the fact that you are millimeters better than you were perhaps yesterday in your last sitting. So let's come to a comfortable seated position, and where we choose to do our meditation, it doesn't have to be the same place every single time. There's nothing special about a meditation mat or a meditation room, but it does help to give ourselves, as with anything, the best chance of succeeding. And one of the ways to do that is to make yourself comfortable, reduce the potential distractions that can come up. Make sure the room is warm enough, not too hot, not too cold. Make sure you can sit comfortably in a position for 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes. And make sure there's not too many distractions around, pets, etc., especially if they're very busy. It's okay to have distractions. In fact, distractions become useful objects of awareness and objects of meditation. But in the beginning, to make yourself achieve or get to a place where you're more comfortable with what you're doing, you want to give yourself a better chance of getting there. Secondly, let's do some expectation management. So either you may have a meditation practice already, and what we're about to do might not look anything like what you're used to. That should be okay. So let's manage that expectation as well. And you might not have a strong practice or a regular practice, and your idea of what meditation should be about is built on the ideas that other people have projected onto you. So again, all we're trying to do is become aware of what is already there and step away from this identification with the authorship process of what's going on all the time. We're not the ones engineering or architecting our thoughts or our feelings or our emotions, but we can become attached to these. So let's begin by taking a few deep breaths. If you're self-conscious about this, you're probably going to have a tough time meditating because, again, meditation is not for everybody else, it's just for us. Taking a deep breath, especially through the nose, hits certain nerves in the lungs that triggers in the parasympathetic nervous system a reduction in stress, reduction in cortisol. This is helpful to calm down, be more present, be more focused. And secondly, we're going to work a lot with the breath, not because in terms of meditation there's anything particularly mystical about it, but if the mind seeks movement, if the body seeks movement and the mind seeks stillness, breath is the mediator between those two. And it is the key to both houses. And it's also one of the things that we can do on purpose deliberately in a way that we choose to do it, or if we're not paying attention, something which happens automatically by itself, and thereby it is a link between our conscious and our subconscious minds. So let's close our eyes, become comfortable, sit however you like. Don't worry too much about your posture and all of that right now. Just be comfortable. Become aware of the sensations involved in sitting. There's sensations that were there all the time anyway, this whole time we've been talking. Pressure from the cushion, the backs of our legs, our bums, maybe our backs. The temperature in the room, the way the air feels on our skin. This kind of effervescent, tingly feeling in our stomachs and our chests that are there all the time. The feeling of having two hands exactly where they are, lying still. The warmth of the skin in between your fingers as they touch each other. The pressure as your hands rest wherever they're resting. There's a kind of tingly feeling you get when you synchronize your hands in your mind and synchronize your arms in your mind. This whole time you've been breathing. Rise and fall of your chest. The way the air is coming through your nostrils. Notice that when we pay attention to sensations of sitting or of breathing, or even of sounds in the room, we have a habit of leaning towards the sounds or trying to fetch them and usher them in and categorize them and understand their meaning. And just once, don't try and do anything. Drop all effort. Completely release all effort. What would it feel like to do absolutely nothing? To have absolutely no expectations? To not try to calm your mind? To not try to achieve anything in meditation? Simply be here, sitting, noticing what we hear, noticing the feeling in our body, noticing thoughts that come up, without leaning towards them, fetching them, or trying to categorize them. Just allow them. And if we get distracted, we do what we do with all of our practices in our life. We simply begin again. That means we start with noticing the sensations in our body again. Synchronize our hands, our arms. Notice the feeling of having skin touching cushions and chairs. Noticing our breath rising and falling. Noticing the sounds. There might be traffic, somebody moving in the next room, the house creaking, sounds of nature, wind blowing, wind chimes, birds singing, even loud engine noises of traffic and sirens going by. They're all just moving like clouds through an open sky, leaving the sky unchanged. We're not doing anything. We're not trying to achieve anything. We're not leaning towards anything. Just putting it all down. Just noticing that we don't need to fetch sounds. They just rise and come to us, pass away. Distractions are welcome. Thoughts are welcome. We don't need to process them. We don't need to do anything. Just sitting, just like this. This is enough. You are enough. Your effort to be here was enough. What's happening, what will stay with you, is enough. Distractions are welcome, sounds are welcome, thoughts are welcome. If we get distracted, we do what we always do in life, in all of our practices, in all of our projects, in all of our relationships. We remind ourselves of our intention, and we simply begin again. No time invested in guilt or shame or judgment or regret. These things have no utility. Simply begin again. Reconnect with your intention. Start from where you are with what you have. Just sitting. Nothing to do. Nothing to achieve. Nothing to notice. Nothing to stop doing. Nothing to solve. And the busy mind, the small I, the solver of problems, the thinker of thoughts, it's just a hamster on a wheel churning away endlessly. Thoughts are okay. Sensations are okay. Emotions are okay. sense of lightness and largeness. You feel like your presence is encompassing the entire room. Beginning to taste stillness. Get lost in thought, we stop the voice of judgment and regret, get it down, simply begin again. Notice how it feels to have two hands connected to two arms, connected to two shoulders, joining together at the chest. Feeling of pressure under your hands, on your arms, the backs of your legs. Even if you have any discomfort coming up, simply notice that. Adjust yourself if you feel uncomfortable. There are no rules here. Nothing to do, nothing to fix. Nothing to solve, nothing to stop doing, just sitting, just like this. Start from where we are, with what we have. We don't have to fetch anything. We don't have to go fetch the sounds in the room. When we notice something, we don't need to check back with the brain or with the mind to see what it thinks. It's like leaving the TV on and walking aimlessly into the next room. Slowly become aware of the feelings in your feet, in your ankles, your legs, your knees, your thighs, your bum, your stomach, in your chest, your neck, back of your head, the taste your tongue has in your own mouth. Come into the room. Slide back into your mind. With your eyes closed, notice your visual field. It's not quite black. There's something going on there. Start to move your fingers and your hands. Maybe stretch a bit. And open your eyes. The important part, just as important as the doing, is the setting intention in the beginning. Intentions matter. Judgment doesn't matter. Panic doesn't matter. Guilt doesn't matter. Shame doesn't matter. Setting intentions matter. Stepping back and allowing what happens to happen. Simply beginning again. Having equanimity to begin again. Going through a process like this, learning to put things down, to frame expectations up front, frame an intention up front. Let the process be whatever it is, and whatever you have at the end of that, reflect on it. Through that reflection, integration will come. And then you will be able to have a different kind of experience in your next sitting. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that. And we're on the 20-minute mark, and I'll be doing episode 2 shortly. No one else is